The hum of the fluorescent lights in Daniel West's dingy garage was the only sound as he wiped grease from his hands. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight. Another late-shift fixing busted pickup trucks in the middle of the Nevada desert wasn't what he'd envisioned for his life, but it paid the bills. Barely, suddenly, the lights flickered. The air grew heavy, almost electric, and a strange humming filled the room, low and vibrating in his chest. Daniel stepped outside, rubbing the back of his neck, only to freeze in his tracks. The stars themselves seemed to ripple, and then the night sky split open. A massive alien vessel, shimmering with iridescent light, descended silently. It was as if the ship had bypassed the laws of reality to arrive. "What the hell?" Daniel muttered, his breath fogging in the unseasonal chill. The ground trembled as the ship stopped just above the horizon. With a pulse of blue light, a figure appeared in front of him, a humanoid being, tall and unnervingly slender, its body faintly glowing. Its face had no distinct features, just smooth contours and eyes like liquid sapphire. "Daniel West," the being spoke, but not aloud. Its voice resonated directly in Daniel's mind. "You are required." Daniel took a step back, instinctively grabbing the wrench from his tool belt. "Required? By who? For what?" The alien didn't answer. Instead, it raised a hand, and an invisible force locked Daniel in place. He struggled, his muscles straining, but he couldn't move. Then, with another gesture, the alien lifted him effortlessly off the ground. The roar of engines cut through the night as military helicopters swarmed the area, their spotlights illuminating the strange scene. Soldiers poured from armored vehicles, forming a perimeter. An officer grabbed a megaphone and shouted, "Release the civilian. Stand down, or we will open fire." The alien tilted its head, almost as if amused, and waved its hand. A shockwave rippled outward, flipping vehicles, sending soldiers sprawling, and silencing the megaphone mid-command. The chaos was Daniel's chance. He twisted in the alien's grip, shouting, "Let me go." His struggling must have triggered something unexpected, because the force holding him faltered for just a moment. Daniel hit the ground running, bolting toward the soldiers, but he didn't make it far. A blinding beam of light shot down from the hovering ship, enveloping him. His vision blurred, and the sounds of the desert and the soldiers shouting faded. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer on Earth. The first thing Daniel noticed was the air, thin but breathable, tinged with a metallic taste. He was inside the alien ship. The walls glimmered, shifting colors and patterns like a living organism. The floor beneath him felt solid yet soft, almost like stepping on a dense gel. Before he could gather his thoughts, a group of aliens surrounded him. Each one was different, their forms a bizarre collage of limbs, eyes, and bioluminescent skin. Despite their variety, they all exuded an air of authority, their gazes locking onto Daniel with unnerving intensity. "Why am I here?" Daniel demanded, his voice echoing slightly in the strange chamber. A tall alien stepped forward. Its translucent body glowed faintly, revealing a network of pulsing veins beneath its skin. When it spoke, its voice resonated both in Daniel's ears and his mind. "You are unique, Daniel West. Your genetic material holds something extraordinary." Daniel blinked, his heart pounding. "You've got the wrong guy. I'm just a mechanic. I'm not special." "You are incorrect," the alien said, tilting its head. "We have analyzed your species for decades, yet your DNA presents anomalies we have never encountered before." "What anomalies?" Daniel asked, his voice rising. "And why does it matter?" Another alien, shorter and with an almost crystalline appearance, chimed in. "Our species is dying. We require your DNA to survive." Daniel's stomach churned. "What? You're gonna experiment on me? Clone me? Use me to create some freak hybrid?" The crystalline alien made a sound that might have been a chuckle. "You misunderstand. It is not your body we require, only the key within your genetic code." "That's not reassuring," Daniel snapped. Before he could argue further, the ship shuddered violently. An alarm blared, and alien voices erupted in panic. A massive holographic screen appeared in the chamber, displaying Earth's military forces launching a full-scale attack on the ship. Missiles streaked through the atmosphere, their contrails blazing. "This is not optimal. one alien said calmly. You think? Daniel muttered, his fear momentarily overshadowed by sarcasm. The ship's defenses activated, releasing shimmering barriers that intercepted the incoming missiles. But the assault didn't stop. Railguns and experimental energy weapons joined the barrage, hammering the alien vessel. The lights flickered, and the ship trembled again. We must leave this planet, the tall alien declared. Agreed, said another. The human can be studied elsewhere. Wait. Daniel protested. Studied. Elsewhere. No. The ship lurched upward, accelerating at an impossible speed. Daniel's stomach flipped as Earth rapidly shrank from view on the holographic display. The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. He wasn't just abducted. He was being taken who knew where, with no way back. The alien ship soared through the void of space, its hull emitting an eerie, pulsating glow. Daniel sat slumped in a shimmering cell, his head in his hands. The walls were smooth and seamless, seemingly impervious to anything he could do. He tried shouting, kicking, and pleading, but his captors ignored him, their focus elsewhere. He needed to think, needed a plan. Daniel's eyes darted around the room, searching for anything he could use. That's when he noticed a faint flicker in the wall opposite his cell. A control panel, its edges barely visible, pulsed faintly with alien symbols. Daniel leaned closer, studying it. He had no idea what the symbols meant, but he'd spent his life fixing things that weren't supposed to be fixable. Maybe this wasn't so different. Using a metal shard he'd yanked from his cell's cot, he prodded the panel. Sparks flew, and the energy field holding him prisoner wavered. Daniel didn't hesitate. He rammed the shard deeper. The field vanished, and the door slid open with a soft hiss. Heart pounding, he stepped out, every instinct screaming at him to run. But where? The ship was enormous, its hallways lined with pulsating lights and strange, shifting shapes. He had no map, no sense of direction. He turned a corner and froze. A floating orb, covered in glowing tendrils, hovered in his path. Its tendrils whipped toward him, sparking with energy. Thinking fast, Daniel ducked, grabbing a loose pipe from the floor. As the orb lunged, he swung with all his might. The pipe connected, and the orb shattered in a burst of light. Breathing heavily, Daniel pressed on. He passed rooms filled with incomprehensible technology, others with what looked like alien plants or creatures in stasis. Then he stumbled into a massive chamber dominated by a central console. Screens displayed star maps, alien data, and Earth, now a faint dot on one of the screens. This has to be it, Daniel muttered. He approached the console, overwhelmed by its complexity. Alien symbols glowed, scrolling rapidly across the screen. He didn't know what he was looking at, but he figured random button pushing was better than nothing. He slammed his hand down on the largest panel. Alarms erupted, lights turned crimson, and the ship jolted violently. On the main screen, the star map shifted. The ship was veering off course, heading straight toward an uncharted solar system. Footsteps heavy and fast echoed behind him. Daniel turned to see a squad of aliens, their glowing eyes fixed on him. You have disrupted our systems. One growled. Good, Daniel said, brandishing the pipe like a sword. You're not taking me without a fight. The aliens advanced. Daniel swung wildly, catching one in the torso. Sparks flew, and the alien staggered back. But there were too many. One grabbed him, its grip like steel, and he was dragged away as the ship's alarms blared. Daniel sat restrained in a new, more secure cell, his frustration mounting. Through the translucent walls, he could see the alien crew scrambling. The ship's course change had thrown them into chaos, and now they were heading towards something worse. On the central screen, a fleet of jagged, black ships emerged from hyperspace. They were menacing, their sharp, angular designs radiating danger. The largest of them emitted a low, guttural hum that sent chills down Daniel's spine. The Carnath, an alien muttered, its voice tense. We are in their territory. Great, Daniel said sarcastically. What's next? Space pirates. The Carnath ships opened fire. Blazing projectiles and streaks of plasma slammed into the alien vessel, sending it spinning. Explosions rocked the hallways as the crew struggled to maintain control. One alien, its translucent form flickering with stress, approached Daniel's cell. You have caused this. Now you must help us. Help you? Daniel snapped. Why would I help you after you kidnapped me? Because if we are destroyed, you will be too. Reluctantly, Daniel agreed. The alien released him, and they raced toward the engineering deck. Daniel's mechanical instincts kicked in as he took in the chaotic scene. Sparking conduits, ruptured pipes, and failing systems. You've got to stabilize the core, Daniel shouted. If it goes, we're all dead. The alien handed him a strange tool, its glowing edges vibrating faintly. Daniel didn't ask questions, he started patching what he could. As he worked, the ship shuddered again. On the screen, the Karnath fleet was closing in. We can't win this fight, Daniel said. We have to do something drastic. The alien tilted its head. What do you suggest? Daniel hesitated. What if we overload the core, turn this ship into a bomb and take them out with us? The alien's eyes glowed brighter, a sign of hesitation. That would mean sacrificing this vessel. It's that, or we all die anyway, Daniel said. The alien conferred with the others. Moments later, it nodded. Do it. Daniel worked faster than he ever had, rewriting power and destabilizing the core's containment. The ship began to glow from within, its structure trembling under the strain. The Karnath ships, sensing something was wrong, backed off, but it was too late. As the alien scrambled into escape pods, Daniel sprinted toward the last one. He dove inside just as the core reached critical mass. The alien ship exploded in a blinding flash, the shockwave annihilating the Karnath fleet in an instant. The pod hurtled through space, its occupants bruised but alive. As Daniel caught his breath, the alien leader turned to him. You are resourceful, Daniel West. More than we anticipated. Yeah, well, Daniel said, rubbing his sore arm. Maybe next time. Don't abduct someone who fights back. The alien's glowing eyes softened. Perhaps. The escape pod tumbled through the void, sparks flying from its damaged systems. Inside, Daniel clung to his seat as the alien crew worked frantically to stabilize their trajectory. The leader of the aliens, its translucent form flickering like static on an old television, turned to Daniel with a grim expression. We are heading toward the planet Ixia Prime, it said, its voice reverberating in his mind. It is uninhabited, but it will sustain us if we survive the landing. Daniel gritted his teeth. That's a big if. Can this thing even hold together? The alien ignored him, focusing instead on the controls. The pod entered the atmosphere of Ixia Prime, flames licking the edges of the viewport. Alarms blared, and the pod shook violently, threatening to break apart at any moment. Brace yourselves, the leader commanded. The pod hit the ground with a deafening crash, skidding across the rocky terrain before slamming into a jagged outcrop. Inside, everyone was thrown forward. When the dust settled, Daniel groaned, unbuckling himself and checking for injuries. Aside from some bruises and a splitting headache, he was intact. Everyone alive? He asked, his voice heavy with sarcasm. Because I'd hate to be the last one standing. The alien leader glared at him. We are functional. Daniel looked out of the viewport. The planet's surface was a mix of jagged rock formations and glowing, bioluminescent plant life. An eerie mist clung to the ground, and the sky was an unsettling shade of green. This doesn't look like a vacation spot, Daniel muttered. The aliens wasted no time setting up a makeshift camp using supplies salvaged from the pod. Daniel helped, begrudgingly, his survival instincts overriding his bitterness. As they worked, the leader approached him. You have proven unpredictable, it said. Gee, thanks, Daniel replied, not looking up from the generator he was repairing. The alien studied him. Your action saved us, despite your lack of loyalty to our cause. This is rare among your kind, Daniel scoffed. You don't know anything about my kind. You abducted me, remember. The leader paused, as if considering this. Perhaps we underestimated you, but there is something you should know. Daniel finally looked up. Oh, this should be good. Our analysis of your DNA revealed more than just survival potential, the alien said. It revealed adaptability and ability to thrive in environments hostile to others. This is why we sought you. Daniel's stomach tightened. So, what? I'm some kind of galactic Swiss Army knife. In a manner of speaking, the alien said, Your resilience may determine the future of many. Before Daniel could respond, the ground beneath them rumbled. A low growl echoed through the air, sending shivers down his spine. From the mist emerged a massive creature, its 6 glowing eyes locking onto the group. It was a predator, towering over them, with razor-sharp limbs and a mouth lined with rows of jagged teeth. Of course, Daniel muttered, backing away, because this day wasn't bad enough. The aliens scattered, shouting commands in their strange, melodic language. The leader raised a weapon, firing bolts of energy at the creature, but they barely seemed to faze it. Daniel's eyes darted to the generator he'd been fixing. A plan formed in his mind, reckless, but their best shot. "Keep it busy," he yelled, sprinting back to the generator. "What are you doing?" the leader demanded. "Something stupid," Daniel shouted. As the creature charged, Daniel rigged the generator to overload. Sparks flew, and the device began to hum ominously. The creature lunged, its massive jaws snapping inches from the leader, who barely dodged. "Now," the alien shouted. Daniel rolled out from behind the generator and slammed a wrench into the improvised detonator. The generator exploded in a blinding flash, sending a surge of energy into the creature. It roared in pain, its glowing eyes dimming as it collapsed in a smoking heap. Daniel staggered to his feet, coughing from the smoke. "And that's how we handle things on Earth." The leader approached him, its glowing eyes unreadable. "You continue to surprise us." "Yeah, well," Daniel said, brushing dirt off his clothes. "Get used to it?" As the camp settled into an uneasy quiet, the aliens began discussing their next steps. Daniel sat on a rock, staring up at the alien sky. He had no idea if he'd ever see Earth again, but he wasn't going to dwell on it. Survival was survival, no matter where you were. The leader joined him, its expression unusually solemn. "Your actions have ensured our survival. For that, we owe you a debt." Daniel smirked. "How about a one-way ticket home?" The alien was silent for a moment. "That may be complicated. Figures," Daniel muttered. "But know this," the leader said. "You are more than we expected, and if we survive long enough to rebuild, your name will be remembered." Daniel shook his head, staring out at the alien landscape. "I didn't ask for any of this," he said quietly. "But if you want to remember something, remember this. Don't mess with Earth, or me." The alien inclined its head. Noted. As the twin moons of Ixia Prime rose in the sky, Daniel leaned back, exhaustion catching up with him. He didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain. Wherever he went, trouble and adventure would follow.